Thank you for joining us for another episode of Full Spectrum Survival. In an earlier video, my brother and I shared with you a bushcraft or prepper's cache. And inside that cache, we had a very inexpensive emergency shelter system. And that was the tube tent that we fashioned out of a piece of visqueen that you can buy at any dime store that's used as drop plastic for painting or for covering something. It's I think it's $3 or $4 that we get them at Walmart. And I'll show you the contents that we use to put together that tube tent. We have about 75 feet of 300-pound bank line. It's the thinner bank line. And duct tape that's rolled up on a credit card. It makes it nice and flat. We also carry these in our backpacks. It's a good way to have emergency tape with you. Now, this is the really cheap dollar store tape. Sometimes we use the more expensive tape, the Gorilla tape, but for this particular project, this is really all you need. Now, one of the things you have to consider when you're going to put up your tube tent, or any tent for that matter, is site preparation. You don't want to pick a site that looks like there's been water runoff if it rains, so you want to be somewhat selective. So it's always good to get down on one knee, look at the micro terrain, find out where the water would go if you're uphill or downhill. Try and find the flattest spot without rocks, and make sure for this project that you cut a stick and you're able to sweep off the area to remove all the dead branches that would poke holes in the plastic. By doing this, you also get rid of any of the bugs that are remaining in the leaves that would join you at night. There are 3 knots that really help out in this project. The first knot that we're going to tie on one side of the ridge line. Now, the ridge line is the line that you use between 2 trees or 2 poles that actually represents the middle of your tarp or your tent. And I'll show that to you now. And that knot's going to be on the first side is the Vank overhand knot. And we make it slippery so you can pull it out and disassemble it quickly. Reach in and you pull it. Now what this enables you to do is to back this up, and you can give this a lot of tension and still be able to release it quickly to take it down. Okay, the second knot on your ridge line, and this is the most important knot for the project. This is a rolling hitch, and I'll demonstrate that for you. What this knot does is it enables you to vary the tension of the line. You take it around your ridge line, lay it over the top, put it around once, twice, 3 times, and then back around with a loop. Now what this enables you to do is, if you want to vary the height of your ridge line, is to slide it in, and you can move the height of the ridge line up or down. And then when you have it at the proper height, you grab the tag line and pull it tight. And it gives you a very taut ridge line. And it also has a loop in it, so you pull it and it'll release. Okay, the next part is to open your drop cloth. Now you want to start off by matching the front or the entrance 2 ends so you can keep it a proper square. Now once you've found the center, you want to place a piece of tape on the very center. An overhand knot is sufficient to keep tension on the ridge line. And then you're going to tie the rolling hitch again. And then I'm going to go do this the same on the back side. Now on the ridge line, which would be the center of your plastic, first we need to reinforce it with duct tape, because that's taking the downward pressure on the ridge lines as you stretch the tent out. But at the same time, by placing a piece of string here and tying another rolling hitch, you can keep tension long ways, which will keep the plastic from crinkling up and not have all the tension on the pegs on the bottom. We finished putting on the rolling hitch on the front of the tube tent and the back of the tube tent to keep it square while we complete the rest of the work. Our next step is to seal the bottom of the tube tent. Now, Brad and I have experimented with this, and we've tried to take some shortcuts when we've been low on tape and only intermittently close up the bottom. And what happens is that throughout the night, at least in our state, the moisture comes up through the ground and it leaves a lot of moisture, and you end up wet in the morning. So for this one, I'm going to show you the proper way to do it that we found, and that's to seal the bottom all the way to the front with duct tape. Okay, now I stuck my backpack inside on the bottom of the center line because the wind's blowing kind of hard. It's a little bit tough. So right now what I'm going to do is tape the corners and stake all 4 corners. Now before I forget, a visqueen tube tent does represent a suffocation hazard, so I wouldn't recommend this type of tent for young kids. Even if you are assembling them in your backyard, which we suggest you do, make sure there's some adult supervision if minors are going to be using it. I also leave the front end open at all times, and I don't seal the back all the way. Let me go ahead and get to this. Now earlier I cut some stakes to use, and you just put them right through. Okay, I have all 4 corners staked. The next thing I'm going to do is put tension lines on both the left and the right side of the tent. And how I'm going to do that is I'm going to pinch in the middle. Pull off a piece of tape. Tape the pinch, and then I'm going to poke a hole through to tie that tension line. This is leaving both sides open. Now normally, because we have a lot of inclement weather, you never know what's going to rain in Florida, I shut one side, but as you can see, I brought the backpack in here for scale. You have quite a bit of room to bring your gear in out of the weather, and yourself most importantly. Okay, so I've completed closing up the back end, and I purposely left the front end low so in case it does rain again today, that I won't have to crawl all the way to the back to keep the rain out. You could close the front end a little bit, but I would suggest when closing in either side that you leave quite a bit of passageway for air to go through. I think it's an excellent shelter. It's very inexpensive. We've had them stay up for as long as 3 months. Out of direct sunlight. So I hope you go out into your backyard. I hope you give it a try. It's a lot of fun to build, a little bit difficult. You need almost 4 hands when you're doing it by yourself. I went ahead and took my pocket knife and put it on a lanyard on my wrist so I wouldn't have to keep putting it back and forth out of my mouth. But I hope you have fun. And as always, we appreciate your views, and I look forward to your comments, and we hope to see you again. Thanks for tuning in.